Mhm. Yeah, hello guys. Thank you for coming. And today it is like our regular panel. Every week we shall talk about smart cities. And let me introduce this is amazing speakers. Please introduce yourself. We shall be fast.
Sure, I can go first. Hello, everyone. My name is Kinsa. I grew up in Korea, but I'm currently based in California. There's some fire here, but staying mostly indoors because of quarantine, anyways. I've been working in the blockchain industry for a few years, and I'm mostly concerned with privacy and data, especially concerning smart cities.
Okay, I can go. Hi, my name is Otalia. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Oh, okay, great. So hi, my name is Otalia Dobus, and I'm the founder of Innovin Consulting. I spent about a decade in investment management before I decided to move into blockchain, which ever since has become my passion. So Innovin Consulting, we develop innovative solutions for companies. Right now, we've developed solutions in the loyalty area, in the education area, and we also do a lot of corporate education as well. I also have a not-for-profit with about 600 members who are all fintech innovators, fintech enthusiasts, entrepreneurs, and professionals, and so on. And lately, I released, with the collaboration of a few professors from the University of Ottawa, I released a book on crypto finance. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, and Pierre.
Hi, this is Pierre Chan. I don't know his name. What's his name again? Kisa?
Yes.
Kinsa?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm from South Korea originally, but I'm based in London and New York now. My job is actually the building of the small cities around the world. I actually engage myself into 10 different projects around the world at the moment. I was the National Smart Master Plan planner in South Korea 2-3 years ago. Right now, I'm actually just establishing the whole smart city plan for Vietnam, and currently working together with municipalities in London, in the UK, and Belarus, and Ukraine, and Malaysia, and Brazil at the moment. So my job is it's a very simple thing. Master planning is the key thing, and actually just composed of 2 different steps: and basic master plan, and then moving into the implementation level, and also creating the ecosystem of innovations in every different places. So one of the experiences I had in London back in 2014, I was involved myself into designing the master plan for the Canary Wharf Financial District into intelligent AI smart city, and where we nurtured more than 300 different startups and SMEs, and about 10 companies become unicorns. So based on this kind of experience and also my philosophy into it, so I've been working together with different a variety of the municipalities and central governments to create a new manifesto for them, and also to creating the innovation ecosystem everywhere. Thank you.
Interesting. Thank you so much, guys. And first question, what's going on with smart cities and blockchain? What is your like a prediction for the next 2 or 3 years for the completely different sphere, like the finance or PropTech, or maybe something about food, energy, and plus sustainable things?
Well, can I just go first about that? Because
yes, please.
I just designed, actually the blockchain lab was initiated back in 2014 in London office. And there are lots of different companies, and TransferWise, you probably know, Ripple there. So these guys actually were pretty much successful in London as a platform. And I designed it something kind of the blockchain concept into how to strengthen the existing services based on the decentralized and also the increasing the level of security in every different perspective. Because smart city means, probably I can talk about a little bit about the new definition of smart city, but I think everybody think about the smart city as the kind of collaborating all different resources into one site. And also the most important thing is how to collect the data, and data should be analyzed in certain level. And so also it requires high demand on securities everywhere. So that's why I brought the concept into the blockchain into the smart city. So for example, the $3 billion projects in South Korean smart cities. Basically, I was in, the master planning the Busan, the second largest city in South Korea, and it's a blockchain-based smart city anyway. But we do not actually making the blockchain is one of the major concept of the whole thing, because the leadership of the smart city, initiator of the smart cities, probably maybe from public sectors, including governments. So the blockchain is not that really quite convincing those leadership and how they actually can benefit by this kind of concept. And so I just trying to bring the concept of blockchain into all different elements of smart cities, for example, P2P energy platforms, and also mobility platforms, and Fintech and smart payment platforms. And we need to think about how to protect the services from the probably maybe invisible threats. COVID-19 is one of them as well. So there might be a lot of the significant roles of the blockchain can do many things on the different aspects of the smart cities. So I think that a lot of the businesses, including the banks, the existing industries, they need to consider blockchain could be the kind of future value of the resources and the business model in the future. That's what I believe.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Talia.
So actually, I totally agree with Jian. Did I pronounce it right? Jian?
Yeah.
It's my last name. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
like
sorry,
Peter.
I'll go with Peter.
Yeah.
So I totally agree. But when actually I think about smart cities, I'm thinking about security is paramount with anything that has to do with government. That's for sure. When I think about smart cities, I'm thinking about also digital identity. And so I know in Canada in particular, there are a lot of projects right now that are trying to use blockchain as the tool that enables the digital identity, and from there using that to again enable making smart cities more secure, more efficient. But it really, at least from what I'm seeing, it's really starting with being able to first figure out that digital identity issue. Because once you're done with solving that, then you can really expand it and apply it to many things. So, for example, once a citizen has its digital identity created and validated by the state, whatever, maybe if they needed to maybe go into the subway, they wouldn't need anymore to have a card. They could just walk by, or maybe some IoT device will also have to be factored in. But yeah, I see digital identity being the key to really broadening all of that up. In addition to that, blockchain will also be used to make the transfer of data between different government entities more seamless, easier. Because right now, a lot of, especially in Canada, a lot of the institutions that serve their citizens have siloed. So, for example, the institution that takes care of a driver's license will have a completely separate database from the institution that takes care of the government, the citizens' healthcare or their social security or whatever. anyway, the point is right now everything is siloed, and blockchain can definitely bring all of that together to make the process more easy, more to streamline the process. But at the same time, there are basic needs that needs to be taken into account: security and, of course, digital identity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a work in progress. That's what I'm trying to say.
You know, speaking of the derived license and the many different cities around the world now, for example, Amsterdam in Netherlands and Estonia. Estonia, they actually just, you know, as you probably know well, they trying to almost completed the transform the conventional way of the residential card into the blockchain-based one. And the Netherlands, they now actually working on the healthcare card and healthcare systems, and you can actually easily get access to your the identifications on the healthcare, so that it's much easier to find out. And some of the cities here in the U.S. and Canada, they're also working on that right now. So I think it's a good sign of this approachness. Even a couple of years ago, many governments, they actually suspicious about the blockchain. So what we just get, I mean, decentralization is pretty much a big challenge to their the systems, even the cryptocurrencies, for example, fiat currencies versus digital currencies. So there has been lots of different issues and arguments on that, but many different cities around the world now, they're actually trying to engage themselves into building of the testbed using the blockchain concept. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, in fact,
about the digital identifications, and that's the one thing that we need to be really considering about.
Yeah, and then actually to add to what you said, right now there are a lot of challenges that are being government funded to come up with innovative solutions for smart cities. So we are definitely in the right direction, but it takes time.
Yeah, definitely.
I think in the US, you know, it works, you know, like in China, they have government blockchain that's been funded by the government, but in the US, it's the movement has been led more by the private sector and companies, right? Like Facebook's Libra. There's a company called Blockchains that's developing their own smart city that's purely based on blockchain technology in terms of like the data architecture, building in Nevada, and it's going to be ready in 2022, completely blockchain based, and it's purely experimental, being run by, it's not funded by the government at all, being run by just like billionaires, right? So it's I think part of it is because there's harsher regulation here. I think other countries, there's been more of a mix of government interest and funding. So it's interesting to see the different dynamics here. But yeah, I think you know, when it comes to smart cities, I think smart cities were possible many years ago. You know, after internet came out, and it was deeply integrated into our societies. But where really blockchain comes in is a data problem, the identity problem, the decentralization problem, right? We can always create a smart city in like a little siloed space where it's just few people talking to each other. But when they want to communicate with other cities or outside world, or come to a consensus on some sort of data or some sort of agreement, then that's when decentralization is needed. And within countries or within cities of siloed space, it's easy and possible. But as we become a more globalized citizen, I think blockchain is the next ideal necessary solution for smart cities to evolve.
And you know, in addition to that, I don't think many people maybe misunderstand the kind of the range and scope of small cities. And a lot of the municipalities and the governments, they just think about the small city is entire city. But I just told them it's not. It cannot you know, possibly establish that way. So we need to prioritize all different layers, and then from probably maybe 2 different groups, and something that we make the city much better, you know, models in terms of bringing a lot of different future technology services, like kind of digital transformation type of the city, or which is basically the brownfield thing, and the greenfield, for example, new city developments and something like that. So we have different diverse priorities by the government. The thing is, for example, New York, for example, there are like 5 different boroughs here. The New York City smart city cannot be containing all 5 different boroughs because the characteristic and the current facing problems of all different boroughs all different, and also the limited resources, like from the, because there is no innovation ecosystem here in New York City. It's a real estate, very distant models in the past 100 years ago. I think that so we need a lot of the master planner, including myself, and need to think about negotiate the city government and where to start, how, what's the kind of the target population. But as you probably maybe, the mention that it's a silo thing, right? So this is only thing cannot be expanded to the other markets, and also the sustainability could be limited. And so basically to figure out moving forward, I think that I already just proposed many different cities before. So it's called the kind of cross validation technologies based on smart city platform. So for example, like you can just pick London, let's say Westminster district in London, and here probably maybe Queens in New York City, or Orange County in California, or maybe what is it? Just forgot the name of the Vancouver, for example. Then these cities cannot really just have the common ground on the specific items and the agenda, right? But there might be some kind of common ground. Then we just created one source and one platform, even though all different, cities and is far from there. I think that way we can just do a little bit better, because we can achieve the sustainability, resilient type of the small cities, bring an innovation ecosystem, and also the living lab outcome achievements, and to the mingle with other initiatives and fund from outside. So that way, just working on that right now. But as you probably understand that a lot of smart city initiatives still ongoing stuff. There's no such a big achievements yet. And that's why we have to go through a lot of different debates and a lot of communications, how to just, find out the missing pieces between them. Sorry.
Oh, okay. And what is the next technologies for the US market and for the Canada? And maybe the guys share what's going on in San Francisco too. How it could be the best smart cities in the world. What is your advice? I know. Yeah, because it's completely different, like San Francisco and New York City, and
well, let me. Sorry about that. I personally, I'm not really keen to just praise San Francisco in terms of smart city, because this is kind of ironic thing. Uber was really doing very well from San Francisco because the public transportation system was really terrible in San Francisco. There was no such a big efforts from the city, a few years ago. Now it's probably, I heard that they are actually trying a lot. This is kind of the ironic during innovation, even we're just facing the pandemic these days. But I think the innovation can have the sprouts, the grassroots based on the untangled the ecosystems or the bad ecosystems of the and such. I think the you just mentioned about the best small cities, but I can assure that there's no such a best small cities yet. I'll give you one example. I actually visited Amsterdam back in 1991. I just had the backpack travel myself. They already initiated the Amsterdam small city in 1991. which their mission to the build up the smart city agenda in Amsterdam was kicking out all the cars run by the gas and diesel. Everyone's frozen here. Hello?
Yes. Can you hear? We can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you, but hello?
Yeah, we can hear you actually. We can. Yeah.
Okay, I thought I just kicked off. Okay, so because imagine back in 1990s in the cars, a lot of issues about the environmental concerns. The cars produce lots of the air pollutants, right? So that was the biggest complaints by the residents in Amsterdam. So they didn't want the cars like the bumper to bumper situation every morning, every night. So I think the government in Amsterdam back then, they trying to taking all the cars running on diesel and gasoline from center city and then moving outside. So how they actually commute each other, I mean, between the workplace and home, they initiated the sharing bicycle systems. So I rode the bicycle many times, and I actually visited there in 1991. And it was really cute. I mean, they have all different infrastructures like bicycle lanes and bicycle, all different, even the crosswalk, and everything is about the favor of the riders of the bicycles. So, but if you go to Amsterdam at the moment, right now, you might see the kind of different thing, because even though the Amsterdam government tried to kick out all the cars out of the center city, but you can see that still lots of cars are running around, because the conditions and the standardizations of the pollution is now different. So many cars now is much more eco-friendly. So, and generations changed. So generations 1990s and like 30s and 40s generations, they actually felt that the cars running inside of center city was not really appropriate. And now the new generations, like my ages, maybe the 30s and 40s, they feel like the living or buying the house is so much expensive. They want like kind of less expensive cars, and they don't want to actually spend lots of time. They don't want to waste their time commuting between a home and workplaces. So I think these days the government in Amsterdam and also the Dutch government, they initiated like kind of the building of a lot of houses on the water. So like housing, and they don't have to buy the cars, and they can, because it's very close between the workplace and home. So this is actually one of the testing. We cannot say that this approach is successful or not, but you have to understand that smart cities, you cannot define the smart cities as this, because the smart cities have always changed based on all different demands or generation or the all different type of conditions of the cities. So I think the best cities to initiate the smart city projects, you have to think about their philosophy or the structure or governance, and also the participants from the citizens or non-citizens. One more example is like in Nice, in South, the beautiful beach in the South France. The population of the Nice is only 340 people, 340,000 people. But the visitors to, the annual visitor to Nice is more than 5 million people. So this is actually kind of natural question. What kind of the group we need to target on? Residents or visitors? So because visitors, they don't grow up there, right? So they have to think about how to embrace those people to like the cities. Because sometimes from somewhere, then, wow, this city is amazing. I want to just come back again. Or this is terrible. I'm not going to actually visit it again, or maybe I will not recommend anyone else around me to go to this city. So because the city has lots of different, the dimension of resources, but the thing is that you need to think about and sustainabilities, and you need to think about how to make the city much more sustainable.
Like more, yes, and smart for the, like you say, for the New Yorkers or for the travelers.
Yeah.
This is like a main question. And what's going on with San Francisco and Toronto, guys?
So actually, it's what you said, Peter. Actually, is something that I actually don't often think about, but it's definitely something we have to consider. It's not just about bringing in new technologies, but it's also about making the environment more sustainable, pollution-free, green. And on that note, I know there are a lot of cities and government right now that are building solar panel-based projects, again with the attempt of having energy that is as clean as possible, supplying the city with energy continuously, not just at intermittent times, but continuously. So solar panel definitely will probably be part of smart solar panel, wind, water, clean energy, probably be part of smart cities in the future. And actually, in Toronto right now, we still have a lot of work to do because, first of all, we have just recently that the buses have moved from fuel, or slowly moving from fuel to electricity. So just to tell you, before we even start thinking about something super innovative, there's a lot of groundwork that we have to do. But we are getting there. Like I said, little by little, buses are moving from fuel to electricity. And there's also a problem with the connectivity. For example, in Toronto, in the subways, for example, there's no internet when you're in the subway. Well, I know that I believe in Korea, people get internet even when they're riding the subway. So again, we want to get there, but there is a lot of work that needs to be done. And hopefully with development such as the 5G network that is also being talked about a lot, we will be able to make those smart cities more efficient and more user-friendly.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Kinsa, please.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, I wish I had service when I'm on the subway, public transportation. I think that's one aspect where Korea excels at. Everywhere there's internet, and it's extremely convenient. I mean, part of it, they're also able to do it because it's a very compact society, but I think it's a model that hopefully all the major cities follow. Yeah, it's really convenient every time I visit. But in terms of San Francisco, I think past year or so, I think biggest thing is transportation. Kind of like going off of what Peter was talking about. There is bumper to bumper traffic in the Bay Area. Because huge influx of people moving in past 10 years, Silicon Valley and things like that. So they've been improving on that. The technology, they're gearing towards carpooling system, connecting people with other drivers who are going the same way. Like I think Waze it's a mapping program, but it also provides that carpooling service. So you see them integrating relevant services together to get as many users as possible. Unfortunately, each map application is siloed, so it's more of a competition rather than working together to really bring the service to everyone. But unfortunately, that's Silicon Valley. All these companies are competing against each other. But there are interesting solutions like this coming out. Another one I like is it's a little more physical, like electric scooters that you can just scan the QR code and rent out for a few bucks an hour, which I personally really like. You can rent it from one side of the city, end up in another in like 10 minutes, and you're not stuck in traffic. You're moving really fast. You're utilizing bike lanes. Of course, you can need to wear a helmet, but it's really fun. And I like IoT solutions like that. And I mean, past couple months though, it's interesting dynamic because with the quarantine happening and all the work becoming away from the office, work from home, people are starting to leave San Francisco. There's a huge exodus of people leaving San Francisco because rent is extremely expensive, cost of living is high, and you know, if they're working remotely anyways, why pay that much to be here? So you know, the new technology that's coming out is something like Zoom, and other you know, remote technologies that people are starting to massively utilize to deal with this new situation and be more of a smart city that's a little more spread out instead of being concentrated in single city like San Francisco. So pretty excited to see. I mean, it's unfortunate that that is happening, but also excited to see how the city will change in next coming year.
And what is the future of blockchain in like the in this environment, and for the impact technologies too? How the blockchain can change maybe finance as well for the US market and for the Canada, for the smart cities and like the smart companies too.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe you can share what you to do in blockchain, and like then maybe you have like the special cases for the smart city.
Yeah, I mean, going off of like this remote aspect that people are transitioning to, I'm involved in decentralized finance, part of blockchain industry, where they want to. I mean, it's also remote, of course, because it's all on the internet, all online. But basically, you're not going through banks, and of course, a lot of banks are providing apps as a service to do this. But decentralized finance is providing all these services without having to go through banks or any centralized authority. So yeah, I'm involved in that space right now. It's moving really quickly, and things that will be useful is like lending, non-custodial lending. So you don't need to have. It's interesting because you don't need to have a credit score. You know, it's of course it's collateralized, so you have to input some of your assets to get some loans out. But they've implemented like APRs and interest rates to the software, so that you are getting benefit out of using the system. And yeah, it's super exciting. I'm personally working with Nest protocol right now. And their job is to kind of connect these decentralized finance based on blockchain with the real world. So it's an Oracle protocol. As you know, blockchain, there is that problem of siloed systems. So companies like Nest protocol would provide data, a decentralized data that anyone can just tap into, data that's not controlled by anyone, and that's by game theory and complicated mechanism, it holds true to what they represent, or what they say it will represent. And yeah, it's super exciting to see this develop and be more implemented with new projects, new finance projects that's coming out in the industry.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Peter, what do you think about? Yeah.
Like I said, in Canada, it's really right now the government is when it comes to blockchain, there's a lot of work that is being done from the digital identity perspective, and companies like Secure ID. Yeah, so basically they are leading this kind of efforts and working closely with the government to use blockchain as a tool in the background. As far as I know, these projects are not intending to use blockchain as we use it right now, with having a wallet and having all of that stuff, but just making it so that the average citizen, whether they're tech savvy or not, are able to use, to benefit from the technology. And in fact, that's where the whole industry wants to go, whether it's smart cities or not. The whole industry wants to go to a point where blockchain is more of a tool that runs in the background, while people don't even know that it's blockchain that makes it happen, right? So, but then again, there's a lot of progress to be made, not a lot of concrete results as of right now, but at large scale, as we would like to see them, but we are getting there, because it takes time to develop that. It takes time to change legacy systems that have been running for even before I was born. So
Interesting. Peter, what do you think about blockchain cases?
Well, so
and like what is your like best case in blockchain and plus new emerging technologies for the finance?
Well, for example,
like in general, in global, yeah, and like for the US market in Canada.
Still, blockchain has been involved. I know one of my friend Don Tapscott, he's actually leading the blockchain research institute, and I actually just visited Don a couple of times there. And I know that Toronto's ecosystem blockchain is amazing. In Asia, I think that some of the countries, they try to take the leadership on the blockchain. Even Singapore, they actually opened to all the cryptocurrency companies in the past couple of years, and now they're trying to shutting down them because there are a lot of ghost cryptocurrency companies out there. So, and I see that Bangkok could be another hub of cryptocurrency valley or something. And in Europe, of course, the UK has been leading the cryptocurrencies and everywhere, but they just chose the Gibraltar as one of the test bed to inviting the blockchain companies there to initiate something. So I don't think the Bank of England or even the regulators of the British government, they are trying to fully 100% open to this kind of test, but that's why they chose Gibraltar as one of the test bed and something. I think the Malta is now rising. Malta is actually the leadership in European area in terms of the cryptos and the blockchain. But I think that as I mentioned, just like the smart cities, and the biggest challenge for smart cities is because we just gathering all the data from individuals and the companies, and as well as the public data as well. So in Europe, they have very strong regulations, GDPR. So there has been some sort of we have to just deal with the kind of the conflict between the regulation and the data, based on the data from individual. And like California, it's very strong CCPA. I don't think the CCPA is stronger than GDPR, but still, I think that will be another challenge for any blockchain companies. The industry can do something. I think the reason why the smart city should be embedded by blockchain technologies, because the smart city is like a mixture between the public sectors and private sector, because initiators from the government. So government actually have the right and also the empowerment to the setting up the new laws, just like the Korean government, because
what is the difference between the government? Because do you remember they talk about Korean government, but it was like a conversation about travel rules, about like the healthcare. Yeah, could you please share this for our audience?
So regulation,
and it's a great case actually.
Yeah. So blockchain cannot survive by themselves, and because mostly I think that mobility industries and financial industries, they lead on to bring a lot of functions of blockchain. The cryptocurrency is something different views I have, but the thing is, regulation is all different. GDPR is in Europe now, but I think the general regulation perspective, a lot of Asian countries, they just stick with the positive regulation systems, comparing to the Europeans and even some states here in the United States. They are negative regulation systems, which means you can just go ahead whatever you want, and then if something goes wrong, that the governments can be involved later. But like Korea, Taiwan, and Japan, even Vietnam, China, of course, and they have very strongly like top-down governance systems, and the government has a power over all the industries, and they have. That's why they have very delicate the positive regulation systems. And I don't think any kind of the blockchain companies and fintech companies in South Korea, for example, they cannot really just do something, and all their the source technologies and services should be combined or maybe collaborating with existing conglomerates, and that's the only way they can survive. That's why I think that now, post the pandemic, a lot of blockchain industry will be gathered by the very active cities or countries, and there might be maybe 1-2 hottest spot in Europe, probably another one in Asia. I'm actually planning to Vietnam or Malaysia could be one thing. So I'm working on the financial blockchain cities, and I'm actually planning right now. We actually in the middle of discussions, but probably Kuala Lumpur Financial District will be, another stage of the blockchain or crypto, or maybe digital transformation hub in Asia. Hong Kong is collapsed, definitely. Lots of cities now, they're trying to, identify themselves in kind of the post of Hong Kong or something. But I don't believe that there will be a next Hong Kong. Probably maybe something new version of Hong Kong in Asia. So some cities probably maybe better ecosystem with the private equity fund, for example, or hedge fund, or maybe the blockchain or cryptocurrencies. So the roles will be distributed in a kind of equal way. But I think if the regulation system is really tough, I don't think that those countries can be the right candidate. That's why I actually established the special law in small cities in South Korea. But that law is pretty much general. Has the special law also inside? It's called the what is it? Sorry, I just forgot the name. Anyway, so the special law to ease the regulation so that they can embrace some of the technology service can be done. But it's actually limited markets, not entire nations, specific area. So which I didn't like it. But so I think in terms of blockchain, there will be a lot of accelerating on the the blockchain definitely is coming post pandemic and during pandemic. But it's the matter of which city or which country could take the kind of leadership. Currently, Toronto is one of them, and also the city nearby, the Zurich in Switzerland, they're trying to just take the leadership with the Malta, Gibraltar. But these cities is small, except Toronto. Toronto is different cases. But the kind of bigger cities can take the maybe a leadership later on very quickly. Because the digital transformation here in New York is much faster than I thought. I assumed that it would take about maybe 7 years, because comparing to London ecosystem, the New York is really horrible. But Corona really helped out the ecosystem of New York a little bit faster than everybody think. And this is it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah. And actually, I definitely agree that regulations are going to have a major role to play in here, because so far we've been talking about blockchain as the management tool, but if we want tokens, not just the blockchain, but like tokens, the tokenization of this and that, of this service or that, maybe like some autonomous vehicles, or maybe homeowners being able to tokenize the energy that they're getting from their solar panel and selling it to other citizens in the city. We definitely need regulations to back that up, because without that, it won't be, you won't be able to use those tools that are made available thanks to blockchain. And so in Toronto, in Canada, Don has been a great leader, definitely, in terms of pushing blockchain and making authorities value it. And so recently, we've had Bitcoin funds that have been approved by the regulations, and so we are moving again towards the right direction. But can you launch an ICO in Canada? Not yet.
Yes.
Can you tokenize anything you want? Not yet. But Bitcoin has been approved, so we are moving towards the right direction.
Okay, guys. And you like the professional short advice for the startups who want to survive during the pandemic, like maybe like a 1 or 2 minutes advice.
Sorry, could you please repeat that?
Yeah, give like the short advice for the startups, how they can survive.
Well, I think that
Like a short, yeah.
like a crouching tiger, they have to survive, but there's nothing they can do now. I think that they need to just sit down and take more time to think about their business model, or they need to read a book, or they trying to chase their trends, because you know, their business model or their activities before pandemic cannot be the same post pandemic. So they have to reshuffle everything from their ideas. And you know, lots of the businesses, they actually had an exodus from New York City and London and major metropolitan areas. So their target, you know, they probably think about the B2C, B2B, B2G, and kind of different type. But now, you know, the feature of this planet post pandemic is something that we never experienced. So they need to just really deeply think about what they need to be, because they have to be flexible. If they actually just define themselves now, you know, you never actually adapt the kind of changed environments and post pandemic.
Nice. Next.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean,
what is your special advice from Silicon Valley?
I mean, it's just adapting to quarantine, right? I mean, just figure out which ways you can adapt to the new situation using the technology. You know, speed and adoption is the key right now, and just do it quickly. And online is, you know, I think the iteration process is a lot quicker in terms of things you're able to experiment with. So just go for it. I personally think, you know, every company has ways to improve on marketing. So during this time, more people are spending time online on their computers. So really dive deep into that and figure out how to capture attention there, I think.
Yeah,
thank you.
And for me, I think I said it in the previous panel that I believe that companies now facing this unexpected event have or are having to take a proactive approach to the future as opposed to a reactive approach. So how can we be secured enough against the unexpected events that may happen, whether COVID-19 or maybe a COVID-19 too, or whatever it is. And so I believe that companies will have to reach out to experts so that, you know, they can give them, you know, a sort of direction of where the world is going so that they can be prepared for it. So that would be one. But as far as the present the present, not the future, is concerned, I think that we all have to, or we are all having to make a lemonade out of lemons, because it's tough. To see it's a very tough situation where companies have been losing clients and things like that. But then at the same time, you have to remember that great companies like Uber and Airbnb, they all came out of economic crisis. So maybe this is also the time for us to find new ways to come up with the next Airbnb, the next Uber, that is going to just improve lives all over the world. So just I guess what I'm trying to say is keep an open mind and try to see where the opportunities lie. Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you guys for your time. It was like amazing conversation. Yeah, I'm so excited, and yeah, have a great weekend, and yeah, see you in my next live streams.
Sure,
Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
invite, Manana, and nice meeting you all.
Nice meeting you all too.
Kinsa, Halet, yes. Hey, Peter, thank you. Bye-bye.